Okay, management meeting. Jodie said that she's going to be a little bit late, but she will be here towards the end. Oh shoot, the two things that I wanted to speak about, they both jumped off now. I forgot to ask them to stay. Aubrey and Sinead. No, yeah, Aubrey was going to talk about process documentation, and Sinead was going to talk about the website. But I think I can actually just talk about the website. We're just talking about the bios, and then I know we want to talk about 209A. Is there anything else we need to talk about specifically in this?
Just check in with Michelle about what's happening with the motion to dismiss.
Okay, so motion to dismiss is, we got a little bit of help from Jonathan. It's a bit unclear, but I've gotten it working too. As soon as I can get Mariah on, can I work on it myself, or should I wait for Mariah?
No, you can work on it yourself.
Okay, so can I know the timeline for that?
Explain it to her what you've done. I think.
Sure.
You know, I mean, she wants it. She wants it done, and she's got 15 million projects right now, also. So.
Okay, so I can work on at least moving it forward myself.
Yeah.
Can I know the timeline on that? When are we looking? Like, was it supposed to be done last week type of thing? Yeah. Like, is it urgent?
It's urgent. Yeah, because it's during the moratorium. Okay. It is urgent. Yeah.
Okay, so that's, hang on, that's what I'll prioritize.
And then sorry, I don't want to.
No, that's okay.
Just a quick question. Motion to vacate marital home only relevant in probate and
family court.
Family court, right? No other courts.
Is that right?
It's the only court we let people find.
You're muted, Kate.
Vacate marital home.
Yeah.
Oh, motion to vacate marital home. I was thinking of
that is only probate court.
Yes. Yeah. I was making sure because the court actually just while we were on here asked me, I wanted this. I'm pretty sure the answer, but I wanted to say yes.
The court asked you.
Yes. Well, this is my contact for the court. It's the same person I've had to point out that certain things did actually have Superior Court did have jurisdiction over certain things.
Yeah,
they have jurisdiction over all things.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine maybe circumstances where a superior or land court would have some jurisdiction over something similar, but this is specifically a probate
No, this
motion.
is just very specific. Yeah. No, I'm just
it's gone to the courts now, though, right, David?
Yes, that was why I was getting the question. They were making sure that they only had to socialize it with one court department. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to hijack.
No worries.
So that's part of this, I think, isn't it? To keep us moving.
So do we want, the other thing I want to say is, do we want to speak about the forms? What forms we're going to prioritize?
Financial statement?
Right, not the incorporation.
This is for release starting.
Yeah, what are we prioritizing for? Starting from scratch, or what? Yeah, where are we?
From who was looking at that?
Yeah.
Oh, you're looking at the list.
I'm trying to see what. So this triage list always confuses me.
We need a key or something.
Yeah, be helpful.
Okay.
So what colors you mean?
Fun fact, the last line on that email from the court was that they're looking forward to seeing the 209A. So,
okay.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah. I thought we were done Friday night. I was like, every possible celebratory icon you can have I was throwing out there. And it was actually, I thought, it wasn't until I looked at Michelle's PDF and she wasn't even testing what I thought needed to be tested. And that's when I caught it. So she was asking a different question, but that's when I caught it.
And there are going to be bugs that we find after we launch.
Yeah.
We're just trying to make sure that the showstoppers are.
Oh, yes, definitely. I think we're all on the same page. I just wanted to remind people of expectations.
Yeah. I don't count it till the fat lady sings or whatever the heck.
I thought she was singing. I thought she was just singing.
You heard her opening notes. No, she was just warming up.
Warming up. That's it.
So So basically, the vacation marital home is at the courts now.
Yep.
It's being tested by Philip Ticom. We civil action cover sheet. We're meeting with the SME. We're still kind of working on the code at the same time. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, Caroline, if the test that
Perfect,
I
thank
was running doesn't test the thing that you found a bug with, can you help us write a test that will test that
Yeah,
specifically? Do we
I
have
think
one
we-
already, or do we
I
need
think
one?
we have. Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll meet with
Okay.
you and Jody. Shall I meet with you guys?
Sure. I mean, I can just meet. I
Or
don't know
just-
when Jody's
okay.
getting back, so.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we had like 7 people testing. We had a bit of a communication breakdown. We had 7 people testing before we were ready.
Oh no.
And,
Okay.
So
Oh,
that
Yeah, that's a shame.
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, that was last Thursday. People just jumped right in and started testing, and we hadn't changed any code at all.
Yeah.
So, and you,
well,
and then you
so they were
tested
trying
after.
different, or were they trying like scenarios like, yeah, anyway.
Well,
Can't
we
hurt to
had-
have
They-
playing around
can-
with things
Yeah.
for the same thing, I guess. It's not as helpful.
So
Anyway,
If we have a cover page and we put the version, either people can put the version number from the ID, right? It should be there now. Or the,
are you talking about in general now? What are you talking about?
for the 209A, we would be able to, if the version number is being incremented, we would be able to see more clearly when new version was being tested as opposed to an older version. So that might help also with that kind of confusion, right? Like we'll be looking at the version and going, we might be able to stop and assess whether the version has changed. So whether we should start testing again, right?
right. So how
I don't
and
think
how
that
are we gonna put that in the?
Let's just wait. Let's let Quentin answer that.
Yeah.
So I actually think I have a process for incrementing the version number, which is only doing as its own standalone
Yeah.
page now.
So
which
it's
is-
its own push. Yep.
Yeah, and
And only
I
from
don't think that would
Quentin,
have solved
not
the
from
problem
anyone
last
else.
week, but I think it's something we can continue to make sure we do. So for
So-
going
Okay.
forward, yes.
Would you say solve the problem of what?
My internet's probably not that great right now. Sorry. I don't know if it would have solved the problem last week because Caroline made clear that it wasn't ready to test yet.
Yeah, I had said to Jody, wait, and then she didn't hear me and whatever. So people just started testing, and I said, "Oh, we're not ready yet." So then we were ready, and then I think Michelle and somebody else tested after we were ready, and the first one was okay, but then the one that Michelle saw was not. So that was, it was good we caught it, but
Yeah.
No, that was
Of what? And let's lesson
Empowerment
learned,
stuff
right?
This new feature really we didn't have, but I think it's a really important thing people will be confused by if we don't fix it.
Right. So the plan to
Goodness.
fix it.
I think it's like a 2-minute fix. If someone else wants to take it, it will be done a lot faster because my 2 minutes may not start until like 5 o'clock. So we'll see.
do you want me to? I'll try it. We're talking about the impoundment thing right now. Yeah. Let me
My
try.
solution, Caroline, would just be to go into the attachment block and add an or statement so that if either of those two paths of saying block the address were checked, it will check the box on whatever it was.
Go to the attachment
One?
block. Oh, I
In the
see. Yeah, where the PDFs are. Yeah, I can do. Oh, yeah, perfect. I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
so
you
that's
have
all.
trouble, let me know.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I plan. If I can't do it, I'll ask you because I'm not doing anything till we get this 209A finished.
Okay, well, yeah, and
Life.
I think it's just a thing. So whatever checks the box on the impoundment section should check the box on
On
page
page
1 as well.
Yeah.
So copy the variable from one and just put between them, and that should be all.
But Kate, we're not doing the other way, right? Just because you want it off the order doesn't mean it's impounded. For now, let's not do that because
I don't think we need to do it. Some judges
Yeah.
judges take the position you do, but like it's the kind of thing that'll be fixed at court. If a judge really wants the motion, they'll just have them.
Right.
file
And
it.
there's a difference between not having it on the order and actually having it impounded.
Sort of.
Does page
Not
one
really.
itself like a
I was
preview, right?
super confused with like,
It's very confusing, Michelle.
Courts just aren't consistent about it. So
That's
sometimes
it.
it's the same, sometimes it's different.
Mhm.
There isn't really an answer.
Right.
Great. Good to hear.
Okay, so
Love it.
Caroline, will you
You're trying
fix
to
that?
automate a process to learn how broken the existing process is. So you
Exactly.
that no one ever understood
Yeah.
until you tried to automate it.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens. You know, lawyers say, oh, we can't write at a 4th to 6th grade level. The concept is too complicated, but actually nobody understands it well enough to write it at the 4th to 6th grade level. And the reason they don't
Yeah.
understand it well enough is, as Kate says, you know, it's up to
It
somebody's
doesn't make
mood.
sense. Yeah.
Right.
So Caroline, will you
Yeah,
try
like-
that?
It might not be too complex.
will,
It might
Maeve.
just not
Yeah.
make any sense, which is
Impounding
Yeah.
addresses doesn't really make sense in a 209A context. So it's just
Mm.
like different courts use it different. Like, I mean, it should be impound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
It doesn't really, it's not a thing that like quite fits. And so courts just don't all do it the same. But I think we have, the way we have it is the best we can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once that's changed, we're gonna need to test that again, right, guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think just wait. I don't think people should start testing till I do that little piece, because we can do that at the same time. We don't need to do 20 tests and we can do 10.
So you finish that part first, then we'll start people testing the tests as they are, and you and I will discuss what new test we need to write. We also need to identify which tests are the ones they will run, but I think Jody already knows that. I
Yeah,
don't know that,
yeah,
but I
we
think Jody already knows that.
Yeah, let me get this thing done, and hopefully
Yeah.
I can do it without your help, and then I'll get in touch with you or you and Jody, and we can just, you guys can go, you know, we'll see what we
Sure.
need.
Sure.
Okay.
Can
Right.
can I put something on your agenda, Maeve? Because I'm always coming up with things that belong in today's meeting. Can I put on the live chat with court service centers being added to court forms as a across the board additional feature?
Would the court service centers be okay with that? Because they might
Oh
get a lot of
yeah,
volume.
oh definitely,
okay.
definitely okay with it. They want, I mean, that's their job, so they definitely
Okay.
should be doing that.
So it's a website feature that we need to add.
Okay,
across.
they definitely should be doing that, or they definitely want to be doing that, because that's separate.
They're good people, they want to do it.
Okay.
We do
Okay,
have
got
some people who have expressed wanting to support forms, at least some of the forms. So we just need to figure
Okay.
out what our process is for when we enable the feature. So DocuSimple has a native feature, but I don't think we like the UI entirely. So we might want to think
Okay.
about that.
Well, yeah, I
I
mean,
can work on
we
UI.
want to talk about this now. I just was
Not
saying,
right
let's
now.
just put it on the agenda for today. So
Um,
I talk about it now, or we can add it.
the only other things
thing.
that, I mean, while we're still on the, 209A, I guess it's kind of, there's nothing else that we wanted to talk about on the 209A, is there? Is there anything else
We just want to make sure that we think we have a plan that gets us a 209A by Wednesday.
Wednesday? Because just a
So-
reminder that we're going to be presenting to the courts and to
On
everybody
Wednesday.
else.
Well,
1
just so
PM
you
on
know,
Wednesday.
I do want to. I don't know how y'all feel about that. I would feel a little uncomfortable, but I have seen presentations before that are like, this isn't ready yet, but let me show you what it can do. And then
Yeah,
that
we've
could
done those.
be something that-
Yeah.
I
We've
mean,
already
that's
demoed it.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The 209A
We've done
Okay.
those. Yeah.
weeks ago. So it's okay. in that
And
case.
Kate's gonna have a pre-baked thing in the oven, so that's gonna be fine. And
You
we've
have
kind
something in
of
the oven, Kate?
This was the
That sounds a
the
little
analogy we were
That's
using. Yeah.
weird out of context now that I
sounds
think
like you were
about
saying something really different.
it. Sorry, Kate. There's gonna be a form that Kate's prepared ahead of the
Get
thing,
fudge you have in the oven? Sorry.
and we're gonna have. I think we've decided we're gonna have like 5 different or something screens that we're gonna show. We're not gonna take people through the whole entire process.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, because it'd be
okay.
too long. Yeah,
Too
you
long,
couldn't.
yeah. We lose
Yeah,
interest.
and people couldn't absorb it because they need to look at it and digest it. You can't just go whizzing through it and say, "Oh, voila, here it is."
Yeah.
Right?
Great.
So that's how we decided to
No,
present it.
you're muted.
Oh, I'll come up with a proposal on the 5 or so screens today.
Okay.
All right, great.
Sorry about that.
Mm.
I should be more clear with my analogies. Okay. So the next thing is, what form are we going to try and get to the court this week? We've got a number of forms that are being in the testing stage that I think can go across to the courts.
So to be clear, having a 209A would be more than enough for this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is actually the week that it's released. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be thinking about what the next form is. It's just
So
there's not the pressure for it to have to be this week.
right. So they're testing the motion to remove default,
Yeah.
dismiss default, and vacate. Blah de blah. Right. That's being tested, right?
That's the testing process. The generic motion for family law is being tested. I can't remember what the proper name is.
That's it. Generic family motion.
Motion, family law motion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't really have a name.
And then the complaint for contempt, that's being tested.
Oh, I didn't even know
Okay.
that was.
It's a good one.
So
It
most
feels
of-
like
who-
the-
That one?
That was Jason, James, and Eleni.
Oh, okay. I haven't even looked at that one.
And so basically, we're at a lot of a stage where we're kind of at that parallel where they've finished developing and they're moving on to the testing, where we could have these lined up to get sent to the court. And maybe if we say to them, okay, this week yours is going to the court, maybe they can take another look at it, make sure that it's up to scratch for a review by the court, knowing full well that we're going to pick up maybe some bugs when they're testing it and stuff. But as I said, the testing that we're doing right now, it's because it's not the ideal situation. You've got the developers actually writing the tests. They're finding the bugs as they're writing the tests and then going in and fixing them. So
Well,
right,
that's actually not too bad. Tests are really often supposed to be regressive. It's just, it wasn't part of our process before, but it's not a terrible thing.
It's a good thing in a way, because many times developers know what the tricky bits are, so they know to look for it. Whereas if you're
Right.
just testing, you may not see it,
it's just that John was saying that on the phone, that you shouldn't really have the developer do your QA.
Well, also other people should be testing it.
Yeah.
Right, which they are. Okay,
Yeah,
so it's
nice
not
way.
just them.
I'm thinking about the tests,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Michelle's point
theoretically
is,
speaking,
we
they'd be
fixed it
testing
today.
throughout. Yeah.
and then in a week, if they change something, you know the things that happen. And that's,
Yes.
you really can't test things you don't know could be problems, right? So
Right.
it's
So
inevitable.
Right. Yeah.
So basically, the upshot of my thing is that we've got maybe 4 forms that are ready to go to the court as now. If we identify those and say to them, 1 a week for the next month.
Yeah. So our next one, if we just go back to the order of things we wanted to have, because we had prioritized, our next up looks like the motion for emergency temporary order. So that's a generic form that we were just talking about.
That's
Then
Symphony and
we
Mia.
had, yeah. Then we had civil action cover sheet and motion to remove defaults and default judgments. That was Matt's form.
Motion
This is where
to
we wanted to.
Matt's form, has it been
Refactored.
refactoring. That's what Mike's doing. I need to follow up with him.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I think that what we had kind of arrived at when we looked at it is it's pretty short, and Matt had done a lot of work, but I think a lot of the things we'd want to change, it's almost to change the whole thing. So it might be easier for Mike to do it new and just
Okay.
Matt's version as the guide for like how to ask the questions, what the output
Yeah.
should look like, and so on.
Mhm.
So it may
Um,
not be made as quickly as refactoring for that reason, though. It's more re-implementing.
And then obviously we're on the civil action cover sheet, so we're getting SME review this week.
Right.
So hopefully by the end of this week we'll have civil action up and running and ready to go.
Can I just
let's-
get a clarification on I can still prioritize Mariah's thing. If I'm understanding that still needs to be a priority. Is it part of this project or is it part of a separate project? I just want to understand.
How?
Mariah's,
It's
I don't
not-
remember the name of the
It's
form.
not using the assembly line. Oh, wait a minute. It is using
It
basic,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's part of this project, right?
Which one's
Yeah.
Mariah's?
It's our
The-
parallel advocate only forms side. Well,
Right.
it's not really advocate only. We just don't think the court has a
Which
great
Which
Mariah
one is
the
this?
divorce? Which one's Mariah?
Mariah Jennings Ramsey from South Coastal.
Starts with an M.
Ton of time, BLT.
So which form is it?
It's I think you have an emergency housing order. I think that's what it's called, the
Not-
package.
It's to stop the non-essential evictions.
Yeah, but it's not called non-essential evictions
Right.
in GitHub.
I can try
Called
and find it.
emergency something.
Because
Yes,
it's
that's the
already
parallel
released for the advocates, but it's just not released for the pro se, right?
Right. And the advocates one didn't go to the court.
No,
No.
Yeah.
it doesn't submit to the court. It just gets downloaded.
Yeah, and we don't think this one will either, or although it might. It's just that it's not, we don't assume it's going to because it's not on their list.
It's on their list.
So at the point where we start to convince them to add things, we can try.
Are
to
we,
convince them
David,
that.
would we send it to
Matt-
the court anyway for?
Eviction moratorium.
We wouldn't send it until we wanted to try to get them to act on it in some way.
Eviction moratorium.
Yeah,
Uh,
which is a way to say that we're very free to move with it how we feels best.
yeah.
But
So,
it's just not going to get the same volume of visits from court folks.
so I wanted to say about that too, in case I forget, to Caroline, if Mariah wants to start writing the tests, I can work on the code and we can sort of come at it from
I don't
both
think-
ends.
I don't think she wants to start. If we could get somebody else to write the test, that'd be great. She's going to use up her month's hours this week. So if there's anybody we could get to write tests,
Okay.
that would, I mean, if people have,
I don't think anybody can write tests.
If they
Anybody
haven't-
else can write tests until I'm done getting the functionality back into place, because they
Okay.
won't be able to see the functionality. They won't understand what the functionality is.
yeah, I
supposed
mean,
to
can you write the test
So-
if you don't know what the interview is or is supposed to do?
You can write what you understand of the tests, and someone can come back and say, and
Review
somebody
it.
who knows come back and can review it and say, and then you don't have to. Then you just have a person reviewing it, right?
Right. I mean, she
So-
only works Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think. So it's,
It's rough.
it's hard.
Okay. Got it.
So do
I
we
will
need
work
somebody to
on
write the test for
one.
that?
Not until I'm at least a fair amount farther along, which will depend
Yes.
on
Mhm.
how well this next step works.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So we've got 3 weeks out of planned forms then.
Mm.
Motion to.
Where are we with the financial statement?
That's a good question.
I think Lily finished what she thinks was the last issue, so we need testing, and she wants me to review it for readability.
And was Katie Milton going to look at it?
I was
That's
trying
nothing.
to remember what I told you she was going to look at. I'm sorry.
That.
I'll
If
ask
she
her.
can't, I can look. I mean, if I have the link, I could probably look at it too.
Yeah.
Without
I'll ask
doing it.
her. Sorry, I was thinking in the middle of the night, what was it? And then I was thinking it was something, I totally forgot that that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I just think for such an important form, it should probably have.
Definitely. Yeah. I
What
will ask
do we-
her.
Better, Kate? Is
I'll let-
it your attitude for
What?
this? Are you saying because
Sorry,
it's
what?
because it's an important form, it should have more eyes, the better?
It should have an SME
Yeah,
at some
a
point.
family law SME. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Not me. I mean, not just me.
No, me or Katie could do it. If Katie doesn't have time, I can do it too.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep you for
Yeah.
more, special.
Yeah, I am like a little
Did it-
swamped, but I could do it too.
Do we think then we make that, is that the next one that's going to come down the line then after the financial statement? Is that the next one down the
motion.
line?
Oh, jeez.
It'd be nice if we could. Is that possible?
Do what?
Financial
Is-
Well, I
I mean,
statement.
it's
meant
a-
next one. I
a
meant
big
next one
form,
down the
right?
line after
Yeah.
that one we identified.
I think that the motion to vacate, dismiss, vacate, remove, whatever that one. I think that's the next most important one.
Mhm.
And then the financial statement, because I mean, the motion to dismiss, vacate thing, the housing one, is closer. It's closer to the end and it's shorter.
Right.
So I do need to do the language on it, but I'm not sure I have to do the language before it goes to the court. On the first page, it says, don't use this form if you've defaulted on a motion after signing an agreement. Who is gonna know what that means? And if you've done that, then you should file one of these two other forms.
Mm.
I don't know what the other forms. I don't even know if we have the other forms. So that's the problem with the motion to dismiss and vacate judgment thing. Dismiss, default
Language.
judgment, and vacate. So the
So,
language really needs help.
I mean, one thing is, though, even the bare bones version that doesn't tell you what form to choose, someone could tell use this form.
Say that again,
And
Quentin?
someone could say, this is the exact form for you to use. An
Like direct
advocate
them
who could
to
not
it.
be in the same room as
Oh, I
that
see what
person,
you're saying. Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
even if it doesn't have the context on our interview, like this could be somewhere else, basically, is my point.
Yeah. So
You get
I'm just
directed-
hoping to get a chance. I was hoping that I would be able to do that because I thought we'd be done with the 209A. But as soon as the 209A is done, I'm going to do that one. And then I'm going to do financial statement. So.
Oh, but the good thing about the
Uh,
209A, which we didn't really say explicitly, is like this bug, we have the okay, right? Kate, you're the czar, and that's what you'd said on our earlier call. So we
have
are
the
ready to
ability
release
make
as
it
soon as
live
that bug,
now, even though we're not.
once
you're
the
saying
bug
we-
is fixed.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
once the bug
accounting bug is our last bug, and then we have pre-approval to push it live once that bug is fixed
Yeah.
and tested.
Yeah.
Very
Because it's
exciting.
past all the other tests that we've set up. Yeah.
Right, we just want to run tests to make sure we didn't break things.
Yeah,
We
right,
don't care
right.
about the bugs and the other things.
So the housing thing, I mean, do you think we can just send that to the court with the current language? I mean, it's not going to change
Quentin,
logic
you
or
do,
flow.
right?
Sorry?
Yeah, so you're saying, like, really ideally it's like a package, right? Just like the 209A is a package, and
Yeah.
it helps you figure out what forms you need. That's the ideal, but I don't know that it's MV to have
No,
it
I
as a
wasn't-
package.
Yeah, I wasn't saying I wasn't saying offer these other forms. I was just saying what I'd like to do is know where those forms are. So if we're telling people fill out this form, where are they going to find the form? I don't even know if it's on I haven't had a chance. I don't think they're on Mass Legal Help. So I almost feel like we ought to think about what that paragraph says. But if the
Mhm.
rest of it is working and is past testing, we could send it to the court. And while it's going to the court, we can figure out what we're going to do about this language. I mean,
Okay.
that's
Makes sense.
that's what I suspect. I haven't been all the way through it. I don't know what the testing is, etc. But
This
the
is
first page
this,
is a
this is
little bit-
the motion to vacate default judgments in the housing context.
So I don't know if it's worth substantive going in, but like the problem is, like, people have these agreements that last 2 years, and
Yeah.
they think they fail to appear when the landlord wants to execute on that they failed. They think that's a motion to vacate default, but it's not really. It's a whole different type of.
it's one of the others.
It's
Yeah.
really just to an emergency stay. That might be on Mass Legal Help already, like a stay of
Emergency
execution.
stay, I think emergency stay is. These other two, I didn't spend a long time looking because I thought what I want to do is get in
Okay.
touch with the housing attorney and say, do we even have these motions? But they're referred to in the booklet, and I'm thinking, why are
Oh.
we referring? And I emailed Annette and Andrea last week. So
Okay, I won't worry about. If you want, like, another just a housing hat to try to answer that, if you want, they might
Yeah,
be forms
that
that PBLS has in our Pro Se Motion Bank that aren't online.
yeah, I think
they
I
might
should
have
talk
to be
to
created for
Andrea and Laura
tape.
a little bit about it. But yeah, that's what I want to do is I just want to chase that piece down. But as long as it passes the testing, I think we can send it to the court because the court doesn't care what other motions we're sending people to.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, they
Okay.
don't care about the line because we're not creating the forms. We're just saying go find this PDF on Mass Legal Help. And fill it out.
Right. Okay. Okay. So I'm just thinking now. The forms coming down the line. 209A, big one.
Oh, contempt you said as well.
Complaint for contempt. And what I'm thinking is that we could reach out to these people that I know are testing their forms, and say, "Can you demo this for us?" And that can be the first
Yeah.
step in the workflow.
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
demo it for us. We give it a go ahead, so that it's not all on David to review these forms. David can be part of that team. We schedule.
Sorry, I got a thingamajiggle. What was that? I missed that.
I learned that word. It's actually Ujamaa. Do you guys know that? Ujamaa. It's like when you say like thingamabob or like gizmo, or it's like a word that. Anyway. Fun.
That's a good word.
On the weekend.
Talking to
Word.
yourself there, Dave.
Describing.
A chat. Well,
So
I feel like-
What was the original question again?
before the workflow for now that people who are testing their interviews, and we want to send those interviews to the court, the workflow should be that they demo it to us. The team gets together, they demo it to us, so that it's not only all on you, David. And then if we have any changes they can change it, or if it's fine, by the time it gets to there actually shouldn't be any changes.
Right.
And then it goes to the court staggered, however we deem fit. So I'm going to reach out.
That sounds good.
Okay. And so we've got one's coming down the line, just to go over it one more time. We've got complaint, motion to vacate default judgment in the housing context. We've got complaint for contempt. Motion to vacate marital home is already at the court. Is that correct?
Yep. So if you look at if we look at on the spreadsheet, motion to vacate marital home is now blue because it's at the court.
Got it. A marriage without delay, that's coming down the line. That's with Aubrey and Matt and Blake. They're on the testing. And that's what they were asking about, adding the text function to email to text the second signature, but MVP, I don't think we need to do that. Motion to vacate default judgment, I think that can be the first one that we can ask to demo. Civil action cover sheet, that's going to be not this week, next week. Supplemental affidavit of indigency. That's going to be a while, I think.
Yeah, we just assigned that.
Yeah. CRA motion to dismiss, they're having their SME reviewed this week, I think. So maybe another week or 2 weeks off. The others I'm not too sure. Complaint for modification.
Those are the ones we have active.
It'd be really exciting to get a student form as the next one that we submit.
Right.
Yeah.
The students too, I think that would be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's to see your work live.
And even to see a peer's work that, they mostly worked independently on it.
Yeah, of course. I think
as soon as
David?
Oh no, I was just going to say, as soon as we have something that's ready, I don't think we actually have to stagger it out and hold up on showing them. If we give the court 5 things in a week, that's fine. I just want to make sure we never drop below 1 thing a week.
That's my fear, is that we give, because they all came in at the same time, it's concerning that they might.
Yeah, but I actually don't think it's the end of the world if we give them 5 and then take a little while. The court isn't expecting 1 a week. That's sort of an arbitrary thing that I just want to make sure we're keeping a pace.
Okay.
And we don't want them to think it takes a week to do the forms either, right? I could give them the wrong impression.
Yeah.
All you did was take a week to do.
Oh, we just whipped this together
Yeah.
Nothing to it.
on the weekend.
It's just one person in their basement.
That is how I did the first draft of the affidavit of indigency. I just sat down and did it like a Sunday afternoon. But
We all know you're a genius.
Yeah,
Quentin.
you don't have to.
That's not what I'm trying to say. But, I think our process has added a lot of good checks to make sure we have good things.
Yeah.
All right. So I feel confident that people have stuff they're working. I think that the question then is, so when people get through all these and put them, what's next for people?
New form.
Do I need? Yeah. Well, I have to be thinking about what those new forms might be. I do think we're now at the stage where we can start thinking about this parallel work track as well. So to the extent that we want to build stuff that's not what the court asked for,
Right.
that we think would be useful.
I just talked to somebody. I've got one that I assured them that I would add to the list.
Was it
So
family law?
Yeah. I don't.
Family law?
No, because family laws, I think they're all
Court
pretty
seems
much.
to have asked for a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's plenty more.
Yeah, but I mean the urgent one. I mean, there's modification. I think what I might have
It's on there,
thought
right?
is maybe if I can finish this Blinken dead broke dads thing that's administrative, not court, maybe we could put that through our testing. I would really like to do that because it's complicated.
So I want to just be conscious of folks' time, because some of us have to have a little meeting after this.
Okay.
And
Yes, Quentin.
but I think this is we can flag this to think about, because we're not at the stage yet. People aren't going to be finished and done with all their stuff by next week.
No.
So we just want to start
another
thinking
week,
about it.
Minimum
Yeah.
a week to start thinking about that. I think at the very least maybe 2 weeks, midway through next week. So yeah.
So I think, so especially Caroline and Kate, is in your capacities as having things that you think would be good for folks out there.
And that would help
Maybe
you
start putting together a list. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if Quentin thinks of any housing
I know
stuff.
what it is. It's a divorce.
Oh yeah.
It's
Well,
not
we
done yet,
didn't.
but it's Melina's
Oh,
going to bring it over
Melina.
into the assembly line thing.
Yeah.
That, when you're
How
saying
big
what
is that?
else is there, I'm like, ugh, obviously there's divorce.
What'd you say,
There's
David?
also, I was remembering what Caroline had said while she was saying it as well. I remember we talked about that last week.
Yeah, I would love to have the divorce. It's a big project. I mean, that's like 6 or 7 forms sometimes.
Yeah, but Kate, she's done it. She
Yeah,
just has to bring it to our thing, which is,
Yeah,
and
that'll
she's
be
even
great.
she even started affidavit of care on that.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
that's
was the
how
big
far-
blocker, right?
That's how much she's gotten done. Yeah, exactly. So that would be fantastic if we
Yeah,
could bring
that would be fantastic. That
I mean, it's
reminds
not
me
gonna be
also.
it's not going to be a week, but you know, she has the basics of doc assemble. We've got the stuff, and she's done the logic, you know, and the paths and
Yeah.
stuff.
I would
So,
We
use
should-
that.
Yeah, that's good. That reminds me, we also should leverage the stuff my students did before with guardianship, adult
yeah.
guardianship.
right.
Yeah.
Quentin had said you looked at it and it looked like maybe the thing to do is to add a little. You had written something. You said you looked at it.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out, like, can we adapt this, or is it doing it from scratch?
Yeah.
Because the way they create the PDFs, well, it looks like an API call, and it returns a PDF to you. That's what Community Lawyer already does. So that's just a file we can work with like any other file at that point. Instead, we can
Right.
take care of emailing to the court. I think I'd want to probably work with some of the Community Lawyer folks, either Michael or to figure out that I'm definitely right about that. But
Okay. Well, then that's something to think about. Although since that's going to be a you involved thing, that's a further down the line.
Yeah.
could we, if Mike, what's Mike Cronin, what's he working on again?
He's working on maths forms.
Maths form. So if we could some of the people who've been through one round, if we could get them to work on child support modification, which we already have, not assembly line, if we refactored that, do you think they could do that?
So is that different from the complaint for modifications CJD 104?
No, that is it.
So,
That is.
yeah,
that.
it's the same. You can modify anything with it or
Right.
anything child related generally.
the reins from
Oh.
right here. I'm going to relocate. Sorry, turn off my video.
Kate, so the one that we have is specifically for child support.
Really?
So,
What do you have? Because the
well,
complaint
it's the
usually
one that we
has.
did. It's the one we did in A to J author. So it's about, has your
Oh.
income changed? Has the other parent's income changed? It's all about it's child
Written
support
for-
modification specific. It's not, you use the modification form, but
Oh,
the
interesting.
interview is child support specific. So
Would you
maybe-
be open to expanding it to include custody and parenting time?
Yeah, well, we have to transfer it into
Yeah, we have to get it.
DocAssemble.
Yeah, transferred first, and then maybe start from different you're here because you want to do child support. You're here, think about the different things that they would be
Yeah,
modifying.
because a lot of people want to do both at once. They want to take away his custody and correspondingly expand
Change the
child support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people want to just do child support.
Yeah, but they
Right?
should be going through DOR. I feel like,
Well,
or a lot of
the
them
thing
should
is, they
be.
go through DRR, can take 10 years.
Yeah, but if you don't go through DOR, they can counterclaim for custody stuff.
Yeah, guess it
It's
depends on
risky
who.
either way. Yeah, I mean, I guess you want to. Although there's a new case
All right.
that.
We're getting into the weeds.
Anyway. Yeah, we are.
All right. It sounds like we have what we need for next week, and that we're
Yes.
flagging a bunch of things that we want to think about.
I would
for
like
the
to
future.
take one moment to announce
Yes.
that we think we have implemented the foundation for automated end-to-end testing, which means tests for what any of these interviews. They're written in. We don't have to get into the details, but yeah,
That is
that's
very
pretty
exciting.
cool.
we've got
That
it.
is very exciting.
That's super
working
cool,
on
Michelle.
Yeah.
Good
And
job.
Michelle, it has to be an interview that's written in this with this like we couldn't run another DocAssemble interview through. It would have to be something that's based on the assembly line structure.
No, it's any interview. This can, and I mean, we can port it to the toolbox. You have to write it in Puppeteer, and we haven't simplified the process of like, making easy functions to call for that. So that needs to be, I think that has to be a step before it's more accessible. But it can be for any repository. You just have to include the information for that repository, and for a DocAssemble repository, you have to have access to the server. There's stuff to do to set it up, and but it can be for any interview, and it works on push. So whenever someone pushes the file to the repository, it will run these tests, and they will either
That is very cool.
pass or fail. Yep.
Good job.
It's very, very cool.
Thank you.
I thought you were
Caroline,
gonna,
Very cool.
If we want to write some for the 209A, if you want to pick a few, I mean, if I'm working on this, whatever emergency, something about eviction for Mariah, then that can be the priority, whichever one.
Yeah,
y'all
maybe we'll just look
wish.
at it at the end of the week then, probably.
Whichever
Yeah.
is, just you
I
tell
have
me the
one that I'd
priority and
love
I
to-
will.
I would have one that I'd love to try it on. It's not on the assembly line setup.
All right.
And then we could do on 209A also. Okay, sounds
Right.
cool.
perfect.
All right, cool. All right, I think Maeve, Kate, Quentin, and I have to talk about slide decks.
Okie
All
doke.
right. That sounds awesome.
So I'm gonna stop
Talk to you
recording.
later.
Goodbye.
Yes, great.